Okay, so we're back at the first apiary on the Tuesday after the second inspection on the 22nd of February. It's now the 25th of February 2025, and I was thinking about that queen that was almost on the verge of that little colony that was dying, thinking, you know, what can I do to help save them, because there's a lovely colony last year, really nice bees, and you know, none of it's their fault if they've got hammered by wasps or something that I didn't see over the winter. And so what we're going to do, the plan, my cunning plan for today, and that's me tickling the tail of the fox because it was so cunning, is to get the only 2 frames that are in that colony I think have got bees on. So I'm going to try and steal them out of that box, put them in one of these boxes, put the queen and whatever bees she's got left with her in this box here, go down to the other apiary, and the one that was overpopulated, I'm going to nick 2 frames from there and replace them with these 2 frames. I don't want to knock them back too much, but they're big enough to absorb it, and this is one of the reasons you need more than one colony if you're going to start out. In my view, they're best in pairs, and that was what my mentor said. If you're going to keep them, you need to keep them in pairs. You've got more options. You don't have to have 2 colonies, but you get more options if things go awry, which they have here. So what we're going to do, once they're back in this, I'm going to bring them back up here. If the whole project is successful and there is actually a queen down there, I've brought them some sugar syrup, and we're going to put this stuff in called Nosevit Plus. I don't know what the plus stands for. I've tried it before. It's really good stuff, and it does work. I've no idea what's in it. It's got sort of all sorts of stuff. I printed this off the internet, couldn't actually find the bit that came with the bottle, so I can't actually tell you what's in it, but it looks like it's got botanical extracts including peppermint oil, pure water, vitamins. Well, if you know what vitamins are, they're actual vital minerals. That's what it is. It's an abbreviation for vital minerals. Bet you didn't know that. That's a pub quiz question for you. Essential oil, citric acid, and vegetable polyphenol something. Yeah, that stuff. You know, science and things. So I've mixed it a little bit up, and it's all natural products, so I'm not too concerned. I make a declaration on the back of my jars of honey to everybody that buys one about what bees require and the fact whether I've treated them with synthetic chemicals or just used natural remedies. So this is a natural remedy, even though it hasn't got approval from the Organic Society. It is a natural remedy, and here it is on the back of the jar, which is going around to my mate Roger in a minute, who's one of my main distributors. And it's a bit of luck he is one of my main distributors, the amount of flack I get from him. All right, Roger. But anyway, he's a lovely old boy, and he sells it to all his friends and family. He sells it on, and doesn't make a profit. He just does it because everybody loves having raw honey. So that's today's plan. I'm going to take this kit down and then start filming again when we get down there and see if we've actually got a queen worth saving. Okay? Right, so the plan is to get where those bees were at the front, get 2 frames with the queen, drop them into that box, and it might be a success, might be a failure at this stage, so we'll just see how we get on. Here we go. Here they are, bless them. See this? I'm not sure if you can see that there. Let me just zoom in a bit. This brown is them going to the loo inside the house, which is never favourite, but it's what they do when they can't get out or they're scared to go out or something. So we're just going to heave this hive apart and see if we can see. Look, everything's dead and knackered, but we're just going to try and steal all the frames with any bees on, and I can't mess about because it's only 9 degrees today, so if we find the queen, we're in business. There's one frame without the queen, and there she is, red dot on her back, lovely thing. So we're gonna have a go at it. Like I say, it'd be a real shame to lose them. They are lovely bees. Alright, come on you. I'm just going to pick off all the live ones that I can find. Come on. Alright, don't play ball. Come on, get in there with your mates. It's no good bothering me, I'm trying to help. Come on. Oh, girls, you try and help them sometimes and it's just a nightmare. Right, call that a day. We're coming back here anyway, now we know we've got a queen. So, the queen is now in that box with those two, and I'm going to put blank frames in because I don't want them to migrate onto. Yeah, she's just bothering me in my ear now because I've upset her. Look, get in there with your mates. Alright, oh, I've got you. There she goes. Get in. Right, so we don't really want the bees in transit. If you put frames with honey on or anything, they might move across, but now they will just stay on those that are theirs. So come on. And I forgot to mention right at the beginning, always check that you've done that at the entrance, that it isn't open. Don't tell me how I know, but yeah, make sure you have sealed the entrance first, because you don't want to walk up to your vehicle or whatever and then they all fly out in you while you're moving them. These I quite like these poly things. These are poly nukes, and this one came from Maysmore Apiaries in the UK. There are plenty of other people who supply them. I like these because they're a 6 frame, which is half of a standard brood box in the UK. Again, America has different, you know, frame sizes and all sorts of stuff. This is just a British standard national. It takes 6 frames, which is half of that. So if you've got a box that you want to split into 2, which we'll come to later in the season, then you can do that. It's much easier. Maths, you know, I was great at maths at school. I used to stare out of the window watching the girls playing netball, which means no, I was rubbish at it. But anyway, shut the video down. We'll nip down to the other apiary and see if we can steal a couple of frames from that big colony. That'll knock them back a bit and give these something to go at, and then we'll bring them back here and put them in the same position here, and hopefully they'll all make friends together and that colony will recover, but who knows. Right, quick overview then. Smoker on the go. This is a holding pen. We need to find the queen in this colony and make sure we've got her in this box on a frame on her own, so we don't take her with us or put her in with the other queen. That is absolutely essential. That's blocked up but to let some air in. So the minute I find the queen, I'm gonna have to be quick, even though it's a balmy 10.5 degrees now since the last apiary, only half an hour away. So we're going to go through this colony, find the queen, put her on a frame in that box, put the lid on so she can't get away, and we know that any other bees in there are without a queen. And then we're going to try and find a couple of suitable frames to go with the 2 frames that are in there that we've brought up from the other apiary. They will make friends together. I learnt this trick from a chap called Cayman Reynolds in Tennessee, called Cayman Reynolds Tennessee's Bees. I'll put a link in the whatever it is, or I'll find out how to do that for you, but you can look him up on YouTube. He is an exceptional beekeeper, really good. He knows, he's done more for beekeeping in the 20 years he's been doing it than I know in 10, or more than that. Yeah, I mean, he's just amazing. And he taught me this trick on YouTube in the lockdown when I was looking for information, etc., and had nothing to do and all day to do it in. So you can, at this time of year, most of the bees in here will be juvenile bees. They might have been born last year, October, November time, but they're still what we would class as nurse bees. They're not flying bees. The angry bees that you get mid-season, when people say, oh, bees get all angry and la, or they've gone off the rails, is mainly flying bees, the ones foraging for food. They're in a rush. They don't like being interfered with by humans. They just get hacked off. You know what it's like. You know, lads, you know, just run for the sofa and pretend you've fallen asleep watching the footy. It's kind of a bit like that. But anyway, that's the plan. So I'll set up on the stand over there and we'll take it from there. You can just hear this colony, I think. They seem fairly content. I've just been scratching those 2 frames off that I'm going to put in that box to replace the ones we steal, and they seem fairly content. They haven't come out. I haven't had my suit on. They haven't bothered me. So they're all chuntering away in here. You get a quick listen. In amongst the train noise, well, apologies for that, I can't do anything about the train noise. The wind comes from the west and it brings the noise across here, even though it's a good mile and a bit to the railway track. It sounds like they're literally next door, but they're not. It's quite some distance away, but you know, there's nothing I can do about that. It's just it's the spit and sawdust channel really of beekeeping. Anyway, there we go. So we'll just see how we get on. Right, just let them chew on that for a little while. Yeah, the note has, they've stopped talking to each other now. So the alarm's gone off, and I'll explain this in more detail about colony structure and whatnot, and why I only do a couple of puffs of smoke. They've gone almost silent now. So I'll explain where bees come from. They're basically forest creatures, and the smell of smoke puts them into a panic. And they think, damn, there's going to be a forest fire, we're going to lose our home. So they start stuffing themselves full of honey in case they have to leg it. And when you've got a full belly, you just want to sit down and watch the telly. It's no different for these. So what you don't want to do is to panic them by giving them too much smoke, because they just really get the hump. So if you just do this, it gives them something to fill their bellies with, stops them panicking. And that's about the height of it. So, alright. Now we've got to try and get this hive to bits as quickly as possible and find the queen. Oh, sorry. what we don't want to do is to roll the queen or kill her, because you've got no options at this time of year. There are no drones, nothing. So if you damage the queen at this point, you've blown it. So very carefully, and why I blow the smoke in at the back is to try and push the queen forward. Thankfully she's not on there. Alright, now we can go ahead and pull the hive apart quickly. No queen on there. No queen on there. No queen on there. This hive is full, even though I fed it, it's full of ivy honey. This dark, wet covering is ivy honey. Dreadful stuff. But you can't stop them, they just like it, so they get it. It's just sugar to them, they don't care. Right, there are no eggs in here as yet. So she hasn't started laying for the season. That drawing pin denotes where the edge of the nest was last year. There she is. See her? Red dot, bright gold colour. She's darkened down a bit now, but she's got to go in there. So we now know we've got a live queen, and anything we put in this other box now. Oh right, she has started laying, look. And there's capped brood here. There. That's capped brood, probably laid 2 or 3 months ago. So I'm going to leave them that, because I don't want to give this new colony, this baby rescue colony, too much to do. Right, so in here there's one frame of brood by the look of it. So that's going in here now. That crashing was me just chucking the frames out, because I don't want to wrestle with it. So the main objective is to get bees in here to warm these others up. So that's what we're going to do. Right, so I don't know whether you kept up with that, but we've taken 2 frames from this colony, the parent colony, and we've put them in that box so they can make friends together. And now we've got to get the queen back in here because we've done what we needed to do. There are enough bees there. I might shake a couple more in here. There she is. So you know she's there. Now never ever push a frame in like that with a queen on it. Never. You'll roll her and kill her. What you must do, once you've found the queen, is put in a large gap and then move it up to the other frame. And if she just gets slightly pinched, she'll wriggle out of the way. If you push it down like that and roll her up the frames, you'll be in real trouble. So never do that, ever. And this is the other frame that's got some pollen and somewhere for them to put nest in. That one can go in there at the edge of the nest. That's it, done. Right, you can hear the notes change now, and that's because they've been disturbed. The bloody human's been in here again and made a mess. They'll get over it. Don't panic. They're very resilient creatures, so as long as you don't go and do horrendous things to them, they just will adapt. Right. So now we've got this colony with 2 frames of bees from that colony and the queen. We'll take them up to the other apiary, put some food on top for them, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that will save that queen and that colony. And it's also had the benefit that it's knocked this colony back a little bit, because it's, you know, only the end of February and they're well up there, so that'll give them more room to lay eggs. You can hear them, they're talking now that they know something's happened. Okay, right, we're back up at the other apiary now where we got the remnants of that colony. Here it all is. You can hear, listen to this noise. That is not an angry noise. It's a what on earth has just happened noise. They're not angry. They know they've moved because the scent of the air has changed. They don't quite know what's going on. They've just met a new queen for the first time that isn't their queen. When I open this little door here, we'll turn that round, they will rush out, and yeah, they're probably not going to be happy about it, but like I say, they're resilient creatures and they will adapt. He says hopefully, it's just whether the bee gods are going to shine on this one or not. And a note, luckily for me, you know, I have a van and I've got a flatbed here, so the only risk I've got is from this thing sliding forward if I brake hard, but I drive around really as slowly as I can. Really what you should do is probably put some of these bungee ropes round these boxes just to stop the lid. You don't want this lid bouncing off in mid-transit, obviously. Yeah, it's a bit careless and, you know, risky of me to do that, but you know, I generally get away with it, which is why I've got lax with it. But anyhow, we'll carry this box down to where they were before, and yeah, take it from there. So it's cheered up a bit. As you can see, there's quite a bit of flying activity there in front of that first colony, or as I label it, number 4, but it's the first colony we look at. There's the empty box. This is a new one we've just brought up. This is the colony that they were in, or the box that they were in, and I've turned the entrance to the back now, so if there were any bees left in there, I'll go through it and shake them all out anyway, but if any bees fly out, they'll fly out, and when they come back, they'll fly into that entrance because their mates will tell them where it is. And that colony is quite active now, so there's definitely some pollen out there somewhere. Absolutely lovely sight. This colony, they're flying as well. There you go. They're making that lovely contented noise. So for all you newbies out there, you need to listen to them. You can tell when they're hungry, angry. That noise there, look, there's one with orange pollen on. There's one there, can you see her with orange pollen on? I don't know what plant that's from, but that is going to be a huge stimulus for the queen to get going, as I've said on previous videos, and I've got that right on previous videos. What I didn't get right was Cayman Reynolds has learnt more, or known more about beekeeping in 20 years than I could ever learn in 40, so I'm getting my whacking third sluddled at the moment. And there was something else I said, oh yeah, the brood was 2 or 3 months, which is complete nonsense. It's 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, I'm having a bad hair day today, but anyway. So a little bit of smoke in here. We're gonna have to put this feeder on top of there put that special potion in there with the Nosevit stuff in. There might be other solutions, I don't know. I'll just use Nosevit because I've tried it and it works. And yeah, put that little protein patty on, and we'll come back in a week's time and see whether the bee gods have smiled on us or not. Okay, so I'll just put the camera in the frame so you can see. Right. There's probably going to be a mad dash for the exit now as we lift this lid up. So they've all decided they want to be up here. So we'll see how that pans out. Trouble is I need them below the feeder now. Got the protein, didn't I? I'm not going to bother with that. Too many bees getting squashed. That's better. And there they all go. This is like a little observation window here. It's a bit of perspex, and they're coming up exploring their new environment, and eventually they'll find the honey that I've just syrup that I've put in there with that Nosevit stuff. It runs underneath that wall to here, and then they come up over the top and drop down into the sugar syrup. There you go, there's just one there, look, smelt it, and what's this all about? But yeah, that's what they're doing with at the entrance. So they've got most of the afternoon to settle down, and we'll just have to pray that that works. They were going to die anyway, so the worst case scenario is they kill that queen, which is unlikely. But it is possible that they do that. They just kill her because it was literally a straight swap. which is dangerous at the best of times, but sometimes it does work. So, you know, but so the worst case scenario is you'll kill the queen, and then all I'll do is just put those bees back in the hive that they came from at the weekend. You know, all the bees aren't going to die, they're just going to kill the queen, or they'll accept her, and there'll be enough heat in that little box because it's half the size, and the colony will get going again, and you've saved that queen that was a good genetic thing through no fault of their own. Look, they're fighting each other, trying to pull each other off. So I don't know how that's going to pan out. It could be a disaster, it could work. Just one of those things. I don't know what she's found or stuck on. Alright, what have you found in there? Oh, it's a bit of cobweb, I think. I think she's got stuck on a bit of cobweb. Yeah, that box has been in the shed all winter, so yeah, it could be that. Anyway, there you go, campers. Look, they're all starting to come up here. Once you've got some food inside them, they'll probably settle down a bit. So we'll just pop the lid back on if that lady would get out of the way. Come on, and you, come on. There's no point giving them too much grub. I don't want them to get big, I just want them to accept her, and then we'll start a feeding program, maybe even just put them back in that box again once they're big enough and they've recovered. I'm going to go through this box now and brush all the frames off to make sure that all the dead bees are out and all the live bees are out, and then they'll just fly back. So I don't think you really need to watch that. If there's anything significant, I'll just start again.